Okay, here's going to be a little quick directions on how to make our poster for the bigger project. We're going to use Microsoft Word. So I'm going to launch that. And when you launch Word, standard is that it's probably an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And we are going to change that to a 17 by 22. If Word's going to launch, there you go. Okay. Alright, so how you do that? Up across the ribbon, all these different tabs, you're going to go to Page Layout. You're going to find the Size button, hit the drop down, and our size that we want is not going to be in this list, so we're going to just scroll down. Let's see more paper sizes. And right in here, paper size, we can change it to custom. I think here I have to scroll to the bottom there, custom size, and we're going to make the width 17 and the height 22. So this will be a 17 by 22 sheet of paper. We're going to flip back to the margins. We're going to have the margins be all 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, okay? You might get this little message. I just would click ignore. I can double check the margins here by hitting custom margins. Go to margins, went down and takes me back into this menu and I can see they're all 1 inch. Okay. Please bring a writing utensil. Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to change the orientation to landscape, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the paper. Hopefully you can see the size of it here. So this is a 17 by 22 sheet of paper turned landscape, and so if I type here a little bit, use Word for making a poster, you can see that this is really small looking text. Is it that my font's small or is it that my paper's really big? And size 11, that's usually the default that Word opens. I know probably in English class you might use a 12 point, but 11, 12, that's pretty standard. And look how small it looks. That just lets you know that to scale this is a much larger sheet of paper, and I was zoomed way out, right? So I can make this really big. Now you can read it. Okay, so we're going to use Word. The size of the paper is going to be 17 by 22. I would put it in the landscape position, orientation. And then, next up, how are you going to get it to me? Do not send me your Word doc, please. You are going to save. This is so that you have an editable copy for yourself or your team. What you're going to send me, though, you're going to make a different version. So you're going to do save as, and this is going to be to send to Mr. O. Alright, so when you save as, let me show that now that I have some stuff typed on here. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to choose Save As. You know, figure out where you want to save it. I'll just save the desktop for the moment. And this brings up the dialog box, shows me where I'm saving. I can name the file, but then right here, what type of file? I want you to make it a PDF. Okay, so you're going to choose a PDF. I'm going to hit cancel. Save as PDF. Okay, then you're going to email that to Mr. O. How do you send it? You email as an attachment. Okay? Alright, so that should be how you know what you use to make your poster, what size you're going to make it, and what form I want it sent in. Now, last couple little things might help you out. Let me just grab a snip of anything. Just kind of grab this so you have an image. Copy, come over here, paste. Okay, if you have an image that you're bringing into the document, images don't always move around exactly where you want, right? So how do you fix that? I right click on the image and I choose Format Picture. Oop, sorry, nope. Go to Wrap Text right here and choose in front of text or behind text. In front of text means that it's going to block the text, but the good news is it means you can select it and grab it and move it out of the way if it's not where you want. If it's behind text, sometimes you can't click on it because the text is over top and you can't grab it. But if you change that wrap to text and have it in front of the text, you can now position it wherever you want. You can use the corners to resize it. You can use your arrow keys to move it around. Okay. You can use this little button to rotate an image. So if that adds a little detail. And one other thing, your text. You do not have to use text right here that can't be moved around either like that, or has to, wraps in a certain way. If you would like to have text that you can kind of move and be really specific about, then you can use a text box. And a text box, it's making a little box that you can type text in, and then it's selectable kind of like a picture where you can move it around. So if you go to Insert, and then over here, Text, choose the text box. I'll show you some of my kind of standard things. A simple text box. Let me change the font size, make it much bigger so you can read it. Alright, sample. Can't even see what I'm typing. Okay, so here's the text box. I can move it around. There is a border with it. Okay, if I right click on it, you can also go into Format Shape, but right here you have Style, Fill, Outline. Under Outline, that's like the border, you can choose No Outline, or if you like it, you can play around with the colors, the weights, the style. But if you want text to show up and not see that it was part of a text box, you can check No Outline. And also that text box can be filled with color. So you can see as I hover over there. Sometimes text boxes are white, which means as you drag them over, where the text isn't is actually a white block that is going to block the view of other things. If you want the text box to be see-through except for the text, then you want to change the fill to none. No fill, so there's nothing. So that's going to make the text box transparent. So now you can see, I can see through the text box. Okay, so those are a couple quick tricks. You can resize the box like this. You can rotate it like this. Alright, notice how it's messing up my text. That's because of the wrapping. So I can change the wrap text and also make this in front of text. So it's just in front of and it's not trying to mess up my text. And then you can position things how you want. Okay. There is maybe one other thing that I'd let you just play around with and kind of note that it's here. Word art, where is it? I feel like I normally see it quickly. It's Insert Word Art. Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's been a bigger button, but if you go to Insert and then in this text area, this little A, Insert Word Art, you can get some different styles. Okay, and so you could play around with that as well if there's different styles, and then once you have that, you get some other options right here that you can play around with. You're kind of in like a format word art style dialog area where you can change some features. So you might try that. It's called Word Art, and it's also going to act like a text box, but it gives you some different fonts, some different effects, the shadowing, the outlining, some of that stuff that you might find really cool. So you can kind of come down here and play around with all different settings, reflection, glow, bevel, so you can play around with that. Okay, all right, hope that helps.